Understanding the differences between generations is essential both for the people who live and work in environments where different generations have to interact and for managers and leaders of organizations. Naturally, there is a serious gap between younger and older generations, now more than ever before, due to the advancement of technology and the development of new means of communication. Moreover, the recent COVID-19 pandemic has shown that people can study, work, and communicate remotely, which requires one to be familiar with the internet and its means for communication, which older generations such as boomers do not typically have. Gen Z can serve as a bridge between generations since they were born in the age where technology has become an integral part of life, and the representatives of this age group can help others become more comfortable with technology use. Firstly, it is necessary to define the characteristics of Gen Z and the features that differ this generation from other age groups. Generation Z, also known as Gen Z, iGen, or Centennials, is the generation born between 1997 and 2012, after the Millennials. However, Pew Research defines Gen Z as people born after 1996, as opposed to the mainstream media's approach. The generational cutoff points are not a precise science. They should be seen primarily as instruments that enable the kind of studies described above. Their borders, however, are not arbitrary. The defining characteristics of this generation are linked to the development of technology that has become an integral part of people's lives by 1997, and therefore, this generation has grown up in an environment where the internet and smartphones are a normal part of life predecessors. This age was nurtured on the internet and social media, with some of the eldest graduating from college and joining the job by 2020. Therefore, the time frame during which Gen Z was born and raised predisposes this generation to high interconnectivity with technology and the internet. Generation Z is a large percentage of the population, and their preferences and choices affect the social and cultural environment. Moreover, according to Meola, with a population of 27%, Generation Z is the youngest, most ethnically diverse, and biggest generation in American history. Since Generation Z grew up with technology, the internet, and social media, they are commonly portrayed as tech-addicted, antisocial, or social justice warriors. The closest age group to Gen Z is Millennials, and the majority of Millennials joined the workforce at the height of an economic downturn. As has been well reported, the recession has influenced many Millennials' life choices, future incomes, and entry into adulthood in ways that their younger peers may not have experienced. Another generation-shaping factor is technology, namely the fast growth of how people communicate and interact. Baby boomers grew up while television expanded tremendously, fundamentally altering their lifestyles and connectedness to the world. Generation Z grew up amid the computer revolution, while Millennials grew up during the internet boom. Thus, each generation witnessed a different social and technological environment, creating a gap between these individuals. What distinguishes Generation Z in this process is that all of the above have been a part of their life from the beginning. The iPhone debuted in 2007 when the eldest Gen Z representatives were about 10 years old. By the time they were in their teens, mobile phones, Wi-Fi, and high-bandwidth cellular service were the predominant ways for young Americans to connect to the internet. As they grew older, Millennials adapted to advances such as social media, continual connection, and on-demand entertainment and communication. Thus, in the sense of technology and social media familiarity, Gen Z and Millennials can be closely compared. However, Gen Z had grown up during times when these features were already in use, while the Millennials witnessed their establishment and development. Now, COVID-19 is reshaping many countries' social, political, and economic environments. Instead of looking forward to a world of possibilities, Generation Z is now staring into an uncertain future. Arguably, this generation is faced with more uncertainties than any other before them. COVID-19 will be the second recession for Millennials, following the 2008 global financial crisis. As COVID-19 approaches, elder Millennials may have established careers, but younger Millennials have just recently begun to work. Many may have recently become parents, purchased a home, or wish to advance up the property ladder. COVID-19 will be a generational catastrophe for Generation Z. It comes at a vital juncture in the lives of older Generation Z representatives as they complete their schooling and enter employment. In light of COVID-19, companies throughout the world have been responding to the changing requirements and expectations of Millennials and Gen Z. Popular youth platforms and apps are placing mental health front and center, and some fashion and beauty stores are reallocating earnings and repurposing production to help stem the spread of the illness. Moreover, since this generation is very familiar with technology, they can help others reshape their organizations and human resources management practices. For example, Gen Z can aid in establishing new ways of communication within organizations and helping other generations become familiar with their use of them. Despite the fact that Gen Z is very familiar with technology, this factor has had a detrimental effect on the health and mental well-being of these individuals. According to Dimock, the consequences of growing up in an always-on electronic world are only now becoming clear since a recent study has revealed major alterations in teenage behaviors, attitudes, and lifestyles. These changes are both favorable and negative for individuals who grew up during this time period. For one, the connectivity to the virtual world has a negative effect on the mental health and well-being of Gen Z. It is especially a staggering difference when comparing the mental health of this generation and that of baby boomers. In summary, this paper focuses on Gen Z and how these individuals can become a bridge between themselves and other generations. Gen Z is any person born after 1996 and before 2012, thus, these individuals were born in an environment where social media and the internet are a part of normal daily life. Gen Z and Millennials have many things in common because both grew up in the era of technology. However, Gen Z representatives can help older generations become more accepting of technology and social media. Study Corgi can help you make your studies smarter. Visit studycorgi.com for more samples like this, study tips, and writing tools.